Welcome to another episode of Stream of Thoughts. Today, I'm very excited because I had a question in my mind from a long time. I was thinking that the number of immigrants are increasing in Finland, and how these immigrants are helping to shape the workforce in Finland. I was I was looking for different guests to find the answer. Today, I've invited a very honorable guest, and we will get to know his journey through his life story. Welcome, Roham. We are excited to have you on our podcast.
Thank you so much, Hassan, and thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here and to be able to share my journey and story with those who might need it. Um, it's great to be here, as mentioned, and I'm here for any questions that you are having in your pocket.
Thank you. So, a freelancer, a media producer, as far as I know, a person from a business background as well, at least academically. How would you introduce yourself for our audience, and what motivated you to move to Finland?
Um, well, to introduce myself a bit, I have been coming to Finland. I have came to Finland actually as a student, a business administration student. And I moved to Kuopio in the beginning, a small city in Finland, in the heart of Finland, the center of Finland, let's say, um, and it's the ninth biggest city of Finland with 100,000 population. Before I moved to Kuopio, I had no idea a city called Kuopio exists in the world. But then I was looking for opportunities to study in Europe, and I chose Finland for several reasons. And then I got accepted in Savonia University, and I moved here. Um, and in the beginning, it was very challenging. I came in November 2020, 4 years ago.
Oh God.
And yes, and it was the darkest time. It was the cold as was starting already to we were getting close to this winter, and then just a day after my arrival the snow came. So it was all new to me because I come from Iran, which it's not as cold as here, and the culture is totally different, and we don't usually have this darkness during November as much as we have in Finland. So a fresh student coming here with the family. My daughter was 1 year old at that time, almost two, and I came with my wife and daughter to this country, and ever since everything was a journey to explore. That's me in a nutshell. What about the freelance and media producer that you mentioned? I was not planning to be a media producer at all. Um, just like any other students who doubt their skills, who doubt their, let's say, abilities. I was in the same spot, especially that I came as a bachelor student. So
Mm,
because I became father so soon in Iran, I had to drop out of university where I was studying business economics back then. After 2 years, I became after 2 years of studying, I became a father all of a
yeah,
sudden, and then I had to drop out to go and
yeah,
earn the money and put the food on the table. Therefore, I also had this. Doubts when I arrived, and I had this idea that if I don't even have a bachelor degrees, how am I going to present myself to employers? How am I going to sell myself and my skills to anyone that could hire me
yeah,
as a student? So it was challenging, and we will get there
yeah. We
at
will.
how I could, yeah,
Yeah,
how it all happened in
yeah,
just 4 years.
yeah. November. It's a tough time to come to Finland, I must say. Darkness, and there's no snow. I guess at least in most of the November time in previous years.
Not in
But
Kuopio.
no, yeah, not in Kuopio. But so coming to Finland, you said that the culture was different. Culture is
Yeah.
different.
Mhm.
Uh, Food is different. The weather is different. People are different. So how did you find the way to integrate yourself socially? And
Mhm.
also a question connected to this: that what were the initial shocks to you
Hmm.
culturally and socially as well? And how did you
Well,
overcome them?
when I wanted to move here, one of my, let's say, mentors in Iran, or a wise person in Iran who had been immigrating to different countries, told me, Roham, you are getting the ticket and you move your body from Tehran to Kuopio, but you cannot get the same ticket for your brain. All the images you have in your mind based on your experiences, expected that it will be broken, and then you have to find a way to actually get this ticket for your brain and integrate and learn and be open. If you focus only on the negative things that you face, you are delaying your flight, your mind's flight, to move to the new environment. And it was very good advice, a very needed one. Therefore, from the very beginning, when I arrived, I came with this perspective that, okay, I have to forget somehow all the images that I have, and create new pictures based on the new environment that I'm stepping in. Um, the another challenge that I had was the work. I had to find a job because financially I was not that stable to be able to support my family and myself and my studies, because we had to pay thousands of euros every year as an international student. So this was one big challenge, and then something that would make this challenge worse was that I had no friends, no relatives, no community, nothing when I moved to Finland. And it was like a total darkness for me, both mentally and, of course, because of November, physically as well.
Yeah.
So um, the shock, I don't, I don't say it as a shock, because I was already prepared for the new things happening, and it was rather excited for me to see different ways. So because I needed this job to get the jobs as fast as soon as I can, um, and I had my doubts, then I thought that, okay, there are two options in front of me. Either you have to learn the Finnish language very well to get the jobs, or a shortcut is to learn the culture. So I
Mm.
thought that, okay, language might take me years and I cannot get it. So I went to the shortcut of the culture. So I only went to my Finnish classmates, to any like teachers, classmates, anyone that was, like from Finland. And I only kept on asking about culture. Um, so I asked them, okay, if you want to find a job, how do you do it? If I try to ask the right questions. Of course, there is no right or wrong question, but still I try to uh, bring my questions not so general, but like specific based on the needs that I have. So the primary one was um, finding the job, and I figured out that networking is the most
Mm.
important one.
Yeah.
It is always being said,
Yeah.
networking, but like people might go and network and they might not get the job. So again, this was another question that,
Mm.
okay, how it is. And this was actually interesting, because now I knew that I had to expand my network no matter what. So one thing was that I could find a cleaning job in the very beginning, to work as a cleaner for the
Sorry
first
to
year.
interrupt. So at this stage, we're talking about when you were looking for the student jobs, not the professional
Yes,
jobs,
yes, yeah, of course,
because
of course.
we want to hear your transition from academic journey to professional journey as well.
Yeah, yeah. That's the whole point, because
Okay.
as a student, as I told you, I had my doubts and I had no
Mm.
idea how I can get the professional jobs, even when I have no degree. And but I knew that um, if I could get the right network, and if I could really show my potentials to them, there might be a chance for me. I had no idea what chances are out there. I didn't know what I can offer, because another thing that I learned is that it's just not about to network, it's also about to find a need and try to propose an idea that, hey, I can do this to solve this problem or the need that you have, like um, um but I had no idea back then. I just was looking for a opportunity to network. Of course, I found a cleaning job in the very beginning, to just put the food on the table. But then I didn't just, like, I didn't say it's enough. I didn't want it to be my comfort zone because that would be enough. We are seeing that many students are working as Foodora or World Deliveries, and or like other jobs in like IKEA. My classmates, I remember, working, and for some of them, it became a comfort zone that even after graduation, it stayed the
Yeah.
same. So I didn't want this cleaning also be my easy money, because it was enough for putting
So,
the food on the table,
you
but
know,
it wasn't. Yeah.
we see that there is not much income gap in Finland between Finland is one of the country with very least income gap in the world.
Mm,
So what did so as you said, some people are working in some odd jobs and they are comfortable there. That okay, we are getting money,
mm,
and it might not be. I mean, some of them are earning good money. Even in odd job, you can earn good money in Finland, because there's isn't much income gap. But how did you motivated yourself that no,
yeah.
this is
Mm.
not the end?
It wasn't for me, like,
Mm,
with the goals I had, with the mindset I had, with the um, um, mm, dreams that I had. It was not aligned that I only earn the money. Well, my aim was not to only earn the money. That's the main thing, maybe. um, I even now, I don't put the money first whenever I jump to any project or works. The value, the impact, and um, um, the the impact is the best word to say. The impact that I will leave after doing that work is most important for me than its money, and that borrowed even more money for me. That's the truth. But again, I don't care about that part, because I can. Yeah, it's only a couple of thousands more than like cleaning, and it's not necessary, mm, because you will be taken care of. Like,
yeah.
you don't get to sleep outside, or you don't get to sleep hungry if you don't go, like, you just work as a with blue collar jobs. But it wasn't for me. For my personal um, ambitions and dreams that I had in mind. It's like everyone are different, and it's respectful for their own goals for their life. But for my personal life, I thought it's not enough, and
Mm,
I came to study, paying too much euros every year for learning the business administration, to actually apply it and take my career forward. Not that I only come here to study, get a degree, and never work in this field.
mm,
So, because I go back to this story that, okay, now I had my job, I had my security, but I didn't want this comfort zone, and I started to ask everyone, my teachers, my network, everyone that I got to know, that, hey, I'm looking for an internship position, and I don't care if it's paid or unpaid. I just want to work. And then my teacher saw the enthusiasm, and then recommended me to a project called Talent Hub, North South Talent Hub. I was supposed to stay there for 2 months, unpaid internship, only for my studies, because part of my studies had to be like, internships as like, credits. I was supposed to stay there for 2 months. I stayed there for 8 months, more than 8 months. And then
wow.
again, I didn't care that I only do this because I will get my credits. I was looking at it because the project manager was a Finn. Then I could learn the Finnish working culture. Then I had a reason to talk to people and make new networks. So I got their objectives to the heart, and tried to only do as much as I can to serve the objectives that the project had. Then I came up with ideas. I just tried to use that internship to find out my own skills and my own qualities. And like, for example, the project manager would only give that, okay, your objective is to reach this, no other task. And I would never see the manager again for a month. And after a month, he would come say, okay, what did you do to do this objective? What one thing that I witnessed was that many other interns, were waiting for him to give tasks and were confused. But then I went to seek out more that why he vanished, and I understood not directly from him but from others that what do you think is it normal in like from the again Finnish my classmates and so forth. They said, oh, in Finnish culture, we don't care how you do it as long as you do it ethically and you bring the objectives, you
Mm.
meet the objectives. So they don't bring the fingers. This was the first, if you want to say culture shock, I can say this was one, because in Iran, mostly there are like they bring fingers, they micromanage people, and give them tasks and this and that. But here it was different. I was just like, hey, we want to do this, and this is the objective, and this is the expectation and outcome. Bye bye. So I had to make my own tasks. And that gave me freedom for being creative and coming up with ideas. And then I had to meet with different people because of my ideas. And long story short, because I want to close this section, um, this ideas that I came up and I talked with many people actually ended up with being event for international students, and that event got publicity in a way that major newspaper in our region called Savon Sanomat
Yeah,
actually took the story, and my picture was on the cover of that newspaper. And
impressive.
the recognition in the beginning was in a way that when I went to pick my daughter from daycare, the teacher said, "Hey, I saw you in the news." Then other student came like, "Hey, I saw you in the." I was like, "Okay." 1 year in Finland. This news came in 2021. 1 year in Finland, and already um, got on the cover of a major newspaper, and I was happy with that achievement, to be honest. But then here was another cultural aspect: humbleness in Finnish culture. Even in my LinkedIn, because I was also at the same time active on LinkedIn, and whoever I was meeting, I would just post a picture, talk about it, and this and that. With this news, I took the picture on my LinkedIn and I mentioned that this is an honor to be on the cover of Sovan Sanomat, but I would really be more proud and happy if I would see the headline that international talents are getting jobs in Finland quite easily.
Mm.
So didn't make it at the end of the day about me, but about the community, and that's that humbleness that it's comes from Finnish culture that I learned. Then again, I learned that it's not about me; it's about the community that I'm serving.
Mm.
This attitude and then understanding the Finnish culture opens many doors. Hassan, to end it, I want to say something. Do you remember I mentioned that I didn't know about my skills and qualities, and I was thinking that even if I don't have the bachelor degree, how can I even go to any employer and sell myself? Do you remember this?
Yeah, yeah, I do.
This was a wrong mindset, because and I see many international students do have this mindset, and because of this they wait until the graduation and then they start looking for jobs, and
Mm.
that's why we see many graduates are struggling with finding the job.
Mm. Mm. Impressive, very impressive. So the story that uh, I even never personally thought it this way. The way you put it, that there are two ways to excel in this society, in this specifically Finnish society. One is knowing the culture, and other is knowing the language. And knowing the language, of course, takes time. And speaking like a Finnish maybe might take more time, a decade or so, maybe 5 years or so. But knowing the culture is the thing that you can be a master of and get
Mm-hmm.
to excel in the job market. So this perspective of your thinking, I really appreciate it. And I hope the others who are listening, they also try to get something from the start of your story. But then, I mean, not, I don't want to dive into negative aspects, but maybe we don't need to dig more into this. But did you get any help from your academic fellows or supervisors or mentors to transition into professional life. We will get into that later, that how you personally on your own did effort to get a job in the professional market. But did you get any help?
Well, the beginning of my career was this talent North Savo Talent Hub, and if they gave me the wings in the beginning, to be honest. So my teacher recommended me, and then the project was for the university again. North Savo Talent Hub was for Savonia and UEF University. They nurtured me and tried to support me in that way. But during this project, because of their supports, then I was free to meet with many people, and then I met with key decision makers. And one of them was in Finnish government. I don't know if you know the Ely-keskus.
Yeah, I know.
So for example, one of them was a key decision maker in Ely-keskus. That after my project ended here, um, that person actually offered me an internship at Ely-keskus as a project planner to bring the similar event that we had run in a nationwide aspect, because the event was a success, and even from that event, one person got the job at the city of Kuopio, and now that person has a permanent contract at the
Amazing.
moment and working there. So they wanted to make it bigger. Therefore, I got the internship at Ely-keskus, which is as I said, Finnish government,
Mm.
and that was again surprising for my teachers, that they say even Finnish students might find it difficult to find an internship at like public
Yeah.
organizations. So I would like to say the push was in the beginning to push me to the project, to the internships, and then in the internships, they of course took care of me. Again, they were from the school and academia environment, but then the real thing happened. My actual transition happened after I joined Elokeskus, because then I was exposed to more networks, more people, and then more decision makers. And of course, because I was active on LinkedIn, then people would get to know it easier, that who am I and where am I and what am I doing and this and that. So that was my transition to the actual work. Just shortly, I say after Lucascu's 4 months internship ended, and because of this internship, I terminated a permanent cleaning contract. So it was 4 months paid internship. I was back then I was earning, if I think it's okay, from the cleaning I was earning around 1,000 euros. But at the Elukiskus, all of a sudden my internship salary for the students, it was 1,600 euros. And I was like, okay, I have to terminate the cleaning contract. And then my manager at the cleaning company said, hey, it's only a 4 month contract. And what do you want to do after these 4 months? I was saying, I will figure it out. I will figure it out. And I took the risk. It was a risk. And I took it. And I'm glad that I took it, because then I had no comfort zone to go back to, after Relocatus, to go back to cleaning again. Therefore, I tried to do more networking at my time at Elu. And buildings of TE and Elu were in one building. The office buildings were in same. So the coffee times was always shared with colleagues from both TE Toimisto and Elu Keskus. And then I got I got to know about an opportunity about international productions that they want to do, working and living in Finland. And we discussed, and then they said, hey, you would be a perfect person for taking care of this project. You can join TE-live at TE-toimisto as an intern on a 5 to 6 months contract, and do this production. And if you were okay, you could also be the host, because you can talk, and it seems that you are a natural talker and this and that. And I was like, that's amazing. Why not? So 4 months passed, then 6 months of internship at TE-live started, and then the project was a success. Then I was invited to even give a keynote speak at Talent Boost Summit, which is organized by the Ministry of Employment and Economic Affairs of Finland. And then I was getting more nationwide, let's say, attention, especially that my production in that 6 months time that we provided, it got very good attraction again. I mean, like attention again, because each episode had a average of 30 to 40,000 viewers. My LinkedIn grow all of a sudden to the
Mm.
larger audience, and then when the internship was ending, I came with the idea that hey, this is a need for immigrants who want to be entrepreneurs. We have done a successful project, so this is my proposal for the second project. Let's do it together. And that was the time that I was hired no more as an intern, and we signed a 10 months professional contract, even though I was still a student. So it was my last year of studies already, and I signed it. The project continued until 2023, and I got graduated in 2023. So while I was graduating, when I graduated already, I was already working as a media producer and host. And then when the second project ended, they came and requested the second season because we had some discussions and it was mentioned that it's good. I sent the proposal again, and then they approved the second season. So the third project started with them for 7 more months. So in May 2024, my contract ended with Live after 2 years. So 4 months of internship at Elukeskus and then 5 to 6 months of internship at Toimisto ended up with working for the Finnish government for 2 years and a half for me. So I
Amazing.
graduated, transferred to the uh, Finnish labor market, successfully transited, I mean, and everything was okay.
Mm.
But from June 2024, the real challenges started actually,
Yeah.
because then I was
I, w-
unemployed.
I would
Yeah.
like to stop you here, but because I want this point to highlight, to be the highlight of the podcast of our discussion, that the journey that you have described just now, it's very important for everyone to understand. We as a foreigner, or we as an immigrant, we say that the Finnish government, or the stakeholders who should be responsible for employing the international talent, they're not working enough to to hire the talent, to attract the companies to hire international immigrants. But actually the help is there. We,
Mhm.
as from your story, what I learned is that we need to approach the right people as well. Like, instead, networking is good, but networking in a more efficient way, as you were saying, that with policymakers, with the government bodies, with decision makers. So networking in a right way, in an effective way, is very helpful, and help is out there. And also, I really liked about what you said about moving from a blue collar job of permanent contract to an internship of 4 months, and you said you will figure it out. So I think this is the passion, this is the motivation that drove you, and everyone else also should get out of their comfort zone and try to explore the market, and then
Mhm.
learn from your story as well. Okay, so yeah, please.
True, true, but let's be careful that I don't encourage everyone to be that arrogant as I was, because sometimes it doesn't work, and if it doesn't work, then you will be in a big trouble. I would like to say I met the right people at the right time. So if the time was not right, for example, if I would meet them now, it wouldn't happen. It
Mm,
happened only because I met them at the right time. Why I say this is because I when my contract ended by the end of 2024, we were in a very bad situation of the Finnish labor market, which many companies, because of the economical situation, were downsizing rather than recruiting. So there wasn't much open jobs as it was 2 years ago. So many of my I got so many rejections. For 4 months, I couldn't find any job, even though I built a good CV during my studying years. And after studying, I made tremendous connections. I made a very strong personal branding on LinkedIn with a good number of followers for a person who only started LinkedIn for 3 years. Um, uh, so what I want to say is that sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But the whole point is that you can believe in yourself and do
Mm,
not stay in the comfort zone.
mm,
That's of course very important. But also, if I would go to my network and I say, "Hey, I need a job and I do this," it never works like that. One thing maybe from my story that I can reflect on is that I always had an idea and I approached them with a proposal. And I said, for example, there is this organization that I have good connections with, and I wanted to work with them. I went to them and I say, "Hey, you have a very great YouTube channel, for example, but I only see the contents are in Finnish, but I can see that you're also very interested in internationals. So I can help you to make those contents in English in a professional manner, as you can see my portfolio, blah, blah, blah. Um, what do you think about it?" And the person replied to me, "Oh, this is exactly the right time. We were looking for this and we have been thinking about it, but we didn't have the resources or ideas. Let's jump and talk to it." And then we started negotiation, and we are still on the negotiation phase. I just recently discussed it with them. So again, when I want to reflect on it, it was always the same in the back. When I reached to those key people and I networked, I reached out to them because I had a reason to talk North South Talent Hub and the idea of the event. When I came to them with after the first project ended, I came with the proposal that, hey, immigrant entrepreneurship, this is something is needed. This is government program is also supporting this. Let's do it.
mm,
So um, don't forget, I didn't just ask them to give me a job or I need to work or this is my skills. I came to them with an idea that would serve them, their needs, their objectives. And this is something to also understand that, yeah, take the risk, get out of comfort zone, but also try to come with idea. And don't I want to mention I'm not this genius who comes with ideas with a snap of a finger. Trust me, no. I talk with people. I sit and talk with maybe 10 people from LinkedIn. I ask them for a meeting over a coffee or online. I talk, and I try to get to understand the needs from their perspectives. Then I connect the dots and then come up with an idea. And out of 10 of ideas that I give, 9 of them are stupid, without doubt, and maybe one of them are good. So it's not that it's not that I just say, "Hey, it's easy, go do it." It's not easy, but it's not impossible. And if I could do it, everyone else definitely can do it. But it just needs to listen, connect the dots, and come up with ideas that actually serves a need.
mm. Right. Thank you so much. Yeah. So starting from your journey, from your internship to finding some gig, not I wouldn't say gig work, but it was a
It's
long
all right.
term. Yeah.
Mhm.
So then you said there was a dip, right? Then you got unemployed,
Mm,
and then you had visa problems
mm,
from the
mm.
post that I followed.
It wasn't visa problem. It was
It
financial problem.
okay. So
Yep, I had
uh,
two men. Mm,
instead of like I will come to the section where we talk about how the immigrants can use LinkedIn or other social media
mm,
platform to brand themselves. But
mm.
even after so much visibility and so much connections, and why did you get into that problem?
Um, so much of postponed burnout might be the first reason. Burnouts are real. I finished my studies rather than 3.5 years into 3 years time. So at the same time as I was doing a full-time professional job on my second project, I was also writing my thesis, and then I was also doing the last term of the school, which were like so many exams. And like I didn't right after the graduation, there was no time to rest because I was working for like 2 years. I worked 2 years and a half I work without any vocations, without any um, gaps in between. And of course, if we want to say 3 years and a half of full-time studying, full-time working, don't forget that I'm a father and a husband, so that also comes with a duty and so much energy. And then also full-time work. um, in between, of course, I will this is something that in personal life, but my mom got problems with cancer that I was dealing with, the stress of that, so it's all added up. And when my project ended, I was in this stage of burnout, the
Mm.
burnout, and then it really got me not really motivated, and I just wanted to rest for 2 months. And I had the savings and I was confident of my CV, and I said, if I just get to go for it to find a job, I will find it in a month or two, so no worries. And 2 months, I just stopped from everything, from the world, and I wanted to just get my mental health back. 2 months was that. And then after that 2 months, I started, the savings are coming to an end. So I have to look for a job before it's too late. And then I started to look for the jobs, and I got no, 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 rejection, rejection, rejection. And I was like, my God, what's happening? Um, of course, I have to be fair. One of the main reasons was that I was working as a media producer, which is equivalent to a project manager. And therefore, normally, because of the experience, and now I had the Bachelor of Business Administration, I was applying for project manager jobs. But I didn't take it into consideration that my experience in project manager is only for 2 years, and I'm a fresh graduate. So,
Mm.
from a perspective of outside who sees and reads my CV, I'm a person with not much experience. And it was my own problem that I could not recognize it. And therefore, I only applied to the wrong jobs that were way, above me. So I had to go for coordinator jobs. Forget the project manager, that I got to be at the right time and right place. I now have to apply to the jobs that are equivalent to my experience and degree. So then, after I realized it too late, for 2 months. After 2 months, I realized it. After so many rejection, and that rejection, it ruined my borrowed back mental health.
Mm.
Um, so after 2 months, I saw that I only have 2 more months of savings, and if I cannot find a job in 2 more months, I have to leave Finland. And that was the last thing I wanted, to be honest, because I moved to Finland. The first reason was because of my daughter. I didn't want her to be raised in a society which women are, oppressed systematically, and so many other reasons around that. So I didn't want to go back to Iran because of my daughter, because of my own self, that I have tried so much to build a lot here, and now the whole everything that I built are just losing in a snap of a finger, and I didn't want to happen. So
Mm.
I that the post that you just mentioned, I posted my own vulnerability, my own weakness, that hey, this is the time that I need the support of this network. Otherwise, I'll be gone.
Mm.
And Hassan, I'm speechless of saying how amazing the support was. 2 weeks after that post, I got a job offer. 3 days after that, I got to get it, signed the job offer. And from the beginning of October, I started that job as a community outreach coordinator. So that was how I got it. Again, look, a pattern I want to show. North South Talent Hub, I didn't apply. LU, I didn't apply. I got offered. Tail, I didn't apply. I got an offer. Tech class, this one I'm talking about, I didn't apply. I got
Mm.
the offer. So the reason I say networking
Mm. Mm.
is that you don't get to apply. You get to get it by the networks. But again, you have to have something in your hand,
Mm.
either
So,
idea or
mm,
the need that you're serving. Yeah, please.
mm. So, very inspiring again, I must
Thank
say.
you.
But many of the foreigners, or many of, if I don't know, man, some people mind saying foreigner word, but international people. So when we also get into these visa problems and
Mm,
staying rights, which are very,
mm,
basic things,
yeah.
and once you get out of, you have a stress of earning money to put
Mm,
food on your table, and then you have a stress, then you have a stress to extend your visa, your living rights, in a country where you want to live.
mm,
But if you faced some a dip, you had lots of connections, your LinkedIn community proved to be very helpful to you. But what do you think if if another person had been in the same case and he didn't have that much following, that much visibility before? Would he
mm,
be in hot waters, or would he be
yeah.
say, or what options could he or she have utilized in such case if he didn't have much visibility?
This is something that really breaks my heart whenever I think about it. This new rule that I don't know if it's even approved or not, or if it's effective or not. I'm not sure about it. I just know that it was in the debates and talkings and the program that the new government has brought up. I have no idea in what stage it is. But as I even posted as soon as I found out about it, is that even Finns cannot find a job in 3 months after getting laid off. Um, and this is something that I really I really see it. I don't even have the words to describe how I feel about it. It is very, let's say, cruel for a person who had been working, paying taxes, trying to contribute to the society, and now there is an unfortunate, or maybe the economic is down and the company had to lay off the people. Maybe the company went bankrupt and then they had to, the person lost his job. It's not fair that we asked him to leave after 3 months. But that's not the topic. The question is on what can I advise them. I don't see myself in the position to advise anyone, to be honest, because every single person have their own unique stories, their skills, and if something worked out for me in this way, it doesn't mean it works for someone else. Therefore, I cannot be so confident and say, do this, do that, and you will get it. I don't want to be this inspiring, motivational person who says, this is the only way and this is the way you should. No, no, that's not me.
Mm.
And I understand that it's a spectrum, and people have to, every single person have to find their own way and their own success. But something that comes to my mind, um, well, I don't know if blue collar jobs would be one solution or not. Something that is much more easier to get and it might bring the food on the table. And I don't know if it meets the visa requirement or not. But if I were in that situation, I would have of course panicked. I would have of course get hopeless at some point, and it would have been a disastrous thing that even puts you in a more stressful situation that you would not function sometimes when you're under so much stress. So what I can say is, okay, I might have some idea that just came pop up into my mind. I had a friend who wanted to work, and the work again is a blue collar, but he did something unconventional. He went to the organization, talked to the person, and said, "Hey, I need a job." It was of course a cleaning job again, but in a hotel, and and they were like, "Oh, you didn't send an email?" I said, "Like, no, I just came because I wanted to talk to you and this and that," and they signed with him right away. It was, as I say, blue collar job. But
Mm.
now, let me tell you something. After 2 months that I got this new job, I um, um there was some problem. There were some, let's say, um issues. that I and the company decided to do not continue after 2 months the contract. So I was not working for this new company that I got into after 2 months anymore. This was a new field for me. I was a media producer, and by the end of November, we ended the working relationship. But this time I didn't stay, like unemployed for 2 more months or 3 months. After 9 days, I got the new job as a media producer and like project manager, which is a media producer again. So in a fully finished company, as in only 9 days. How it happened? How it happened? I wanna bring this story that the job was not online, the job was not advertised at all, and again I didn't apply. So the pattern here, look at the Finnish companies, all Finnish companies business landscape, let's say Finnish business landscape, and look at the Finnish companies. 80% of them are small and medium-sized companies. 20% of them are big companies. Well, those small and medium-sized companies, it means that the majority of them do not have HR department. One person is taking care of the whole business. So Hassan, tell me, if this one person who is running a business has the time to put a job online, and then 100 people apply. So he reads 100 CVs with 100 cover letters and go through interviews and then pick. No way, one
No way.
person
Yeah.
cannot do that. So what do? They go to their networks. Of course, in the same industry, they know each other. There are some people, and then there are some other people that they know from friends, family, blah blah. And they say, "Hey, I'm looking for a person with these qualities. If you know anyone, just let me know." And then he might get 3 to 4 recommendations, and this is important, he trusts those networks.
Mhm.
Therefore, because of the credibility of those people who recommended, it's easier for him to trust them, and he can hire them. So this is the key in the networking again, that 80% of the jobs are not online. If there are jobs online, it's only mostly 20% of them, and then there is a big competition. So the key is in open application and going to the companies and trying to find your way, to give them a value that they would have a reason to hire you. For example, in this company that I joined recently, I borrowed the value that, it's a media production company. I'm a media producer. I have my own network. I can also bring projects. And, we will collaborate, cooperate, and work together. And I will give my all to your company, and of course your company also supports me. So it's a win-win. Um, the whole point here again is that going to the people, and the small and medium-sized companies in your industry, and try to find a way. Do not only focus on big companies. Try to open the doors of those small and medium-sized companies by reaching out to them, showing your enthusiasm, and you know you never know what would happen, but this is again something that most people don't do.
Mhm. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah. So lots of people, I have been taking different courses and attending different workshops. So many people talk about this thing that there are lots of 80% of the jobs, as you said, are hidden, and you need to approach the people. And sometimes in many of the fields, in startups and small startups, and there are many companies in Finland that are single person companies, and they are overburdened with the task and they need help. So you can get lucky, as you said. This is one way to approach people. But your whole journey has been really inspiring. I'm just thinking, because every case is different.
Yeah,
I
true.
don't know if you can give, if you would be comfortable to answer about this, or if it falls under your expertise. But what, how a person who is not that much extrovert, who is kind of
I'm not an
introvert.
extrovert.
You're
I'm
not.
not an extrovert, no. I'm an
Okay.
introvert, but I talk too much. That's different.
So how to develop that skill? Like, some give us some precious tips to our for international friends who want to learn, who are introvert, who hesitate to talk to other people. Give some tip how to start.
Yeah, well, extroverts and introvert again, it's a spectrum. Like it's not that someone who is definitely extrovert and definitely like I am in my mind. I'm an introvert, but when I get to people, I talk and I socialize and I talk too much. But then my social battery, uh, you know, ends very soon, and I just want to stay alone.
Mm,
So sometimes it depends on the situation, the vibe, and the people, and everything. But um, what I want to say, I know my wife is like very quiet person, does not talk that much. So it's harder for her to reach out to people, to network as much as I do. I'm not, I'm comfortable with talking and getting to talk with people. So even though I don't call myself extrovert, but I'm more into this extrovert side rather than introvert. I have the mixture of both, but I talk, so that makes it easier for me. But maybe your question is that what about those who don't talk, who don't feel comfortable to talk, who might not be comfortable with networking and getting to know people, and they don't know how to
I
reach the
mean,
people, let's say.
they might be comfortable, but they haven't yet explored that side of themselves.
Uh-huh.
How to start, how to
Mm.
kickstart the networking thing, how to start a conversation, how to like.
I'm not really good at that. Trust me. It depends on the situation that I don't even know how I do it. That I come up with a formula and I say this is it. It
Mm,
just depends all the time with people and the way it goes.
yeah.
But mm, I don't know if I can comment accurately on these. But it doesn't mean networking does not mean that you always go and talk with people. It doesn't always mean to be posting all the time on social media. It means to be engaged, let's
Mm,
say. So if you are not comfortable or you are not sure if you can go and do it in person, do it on LinkedIn. If you are not sure if you can just go out of nowhere to a person and start speaking, then go to the events where they are actually providing the environment,
mm,
network friendly to make the networks. If you are not again comfortable with that, then build a strong portfolio and try to reach people with from the professional perspective with emailing or like showing it in any possible way that you feel comfortable. For example, I know a person who is shy, but I mean, like, is introvert, not shy, it's introvert. But this person is very active on LinkedIn and posting every single day, commenting on people's posts, and the posts are getting attention because of this being engaged and active. So there is not one way to do this networking and put your feet between the door, to make the door open. There are so many different ways, and they, as you said, they hadn't explored yet. So maybe the best advice would be just explore,
mm,
try
right.
to find your own system that it you can function, and you will feel good about yourself, and everything goes around you at the end of the day.
Mm.
I hope
Thank
it's
you.
useful. I don't know.
Thank you so much, Ram. Thank you. We have already listened a lot about your journey. Just one last question,
Sure.
and you can, I mean, the question is mainly for the foreigners coming to Finland.
Hmm.
If you're comfortable, you can give the answer. If you don't, you
Hmm.
can skip it. Do
Sure.
you think Finland is still an attractive destination for students to come? And when they're coming, for example, I'm from Pakistan and Iran and those
Hmm.
the countries from Southeast Asian or South Asian, we try to live for a longer time. We try to settle in the countries where the life is good, there's equality and those social justice and those kind of things. So is it still a good place to live?
Define a good place, because for everyone it might be different priorities. For me,
Hmm.
it is the best place,
Okay.
because I have a family, I have a daughter. For
Mm.
my kid, it is brilliant. For my family, it is brilliant. For my personal career, it is very, very good. The culture, I love it. The language is hard. The weather is a bit, I'm not a big fan of the weather. Um, but the language is, I love it, to be honest. It's hard for many people to believe, but I actually like how it sounds, and I really get connected with it. But it's very hard. And again, define a good place, because a place where um, I would know that whatever happens, my I don't have to put this much of savings for my daughter's education.
Mm.
My education is free or close to free. The healthcare system is really, really, in comparison with,
Highly subsidized. Yeah.
yes, many countries, it's very amazing.
Yeah.
There are, of course, some negative parts, but Finland is not the only country which might have some negative aspects as well. Every other company have their own advantages and disadvantages. So if you ask me, long story short, yes, it is. Um, I can talk about it for hours. Why?
Mm.
But wanting to just give the a heads up, and that people could judge they by themselves. I came here 4 years ago, Hassan,
Mm. Yeah.
and I have already given chances to be a civil servant in this country. I had been given different chances to work in this country. I had been accepted by many different communities, both international and Finnish, and I couldn't imagine it myself. So if I could do it in 4 years, even though the majority of these 4 years, for 3 years of it, I was just a student in the bachelor, then it means it's the right place for a
Mm.
person who wants to grow and has the willingness to figure it out.
Yeah.
So,
So yeah, it's it's still, I think, I also think, because Finland, they say every year, I think seventh time in a row, Finland is the happiest country, like equality and family wise and job wise. So mostly what international students are, they're getting feared of the career, that are their long term job positions, settlement options. But as you said, that it's like a sea, just dive in and try to explore. There are
mm,
opportunities, and but everyone's story is different.
yeah, look at it. I don't know if it's a right. I don't know if it's a right mindset to even look for a long-term employment or not, because just look at it from this. Nothing is permanent, for God's sake. You get a job in a company, private ones, as a permanent job. How can you make sure that this company will not fail, or one day it doesn't go bankrupt? If you get it in public sector, TE-toimisto, the employment office, will end in 2024. So from 2025, there is no TE-toimisto anymore in Finland. It was a public,
Yeah,
it was governmental
yeah,
organization. It's no more, so if a person worked in there with a permanent contract, they would say, "Oh, I have a permanent contract in a public service." So what happened? No more
mm,
permanent. So what I'm saying is that looking for permanent is again looking for comfort zone.
mm,
And as I said, if this is all about the mindset,
mm,
if they have the mindset that they could make their own skills in a way that they would be confident, then and learn the system and so forth, how everything works with a good network, then they have a permanent job. And because it's all relying on themselves, not an
mm.
outside an external factor.
Okay.
Sorry if I talk too much, by the way.
No, 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 no. It was interesting, actually. It was interesting to see your journey. I personally, I have lived in Finland for a decade now, literally a decade. I've spent a good part of my life here. I agree with most of your opinions and your journey, what you said. And I really appreciate how you have developed yourself in just 4 years. For some people, of course, everyone's case is different. But for someone, it takes time. Someone, it doesn't take that much time. But you need to be curious. You need to, just explore and try to make connection. At this point, I think
Mm,
I have taken a lot of your time, but thank you so much for your
mm,
time. And I'm sure
of
the
course.
points that you said and your story will be helpful for a lot of us and for a lot of
Mm.
newcomers who are already living in Finland. So once again, thank you so much. And
It was my pleasure. It was my
thank you.
pleasure. Thank you for
Thank you.
having me.
Thank you.